This is our town. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, USA. Yes, this is our town, nestled in a cradle of beautiful Wisconsin hills. Though the town itself covers but 8 square miles, its retail area serves over 80,000 people in a 50-mile trade area. Our town's jobbing territory serves 130,000 people in a 150-mile area. 2 railroads, the Sioux Line and the Northwestern, connect Chippewa Falls with all parts of our great country. A complete system of bus and express lines, and an airport, and the wonderful network of well-paved highways make transportation no problem at all. Chippewa Falls was first settled in 1837. It was organized as a village in 1853 and then incorporated into a city in 1869. The miraculous growth of our town was due in a major share to the wonderful stand of white pine, which made Chippewa Falls a leading logging center. Once, red-shirted lumberjacks swarmed up and down this thoroughfare, Bridge Street, in great numbers. The blessings of nature and the concerted efforts of the people of our town have made Chippewa Falls one of the country's finest tourist meccas. The Chamber of Commerce operates an information booth where over 8,000 people are aided each season. From everywhere they come: Florida, Ontario, Ohio, Colorado, California, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, Manitoba, more and more, representing almost every state in the whole country. From Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Missouri, everywhere. It is the rich beauty and splendor of the many lakes and streams, like Lake Wissota, which attracts many of these tourists to this area. This lake is one of the best known and certainly one of the most beautiful. It is 15 miles long and 2.5 miles wide. Another equally wonderful recreation spot is Irvine Park, with its splendid combination of beautiful woodland and man-made recreational developments. Much of the timber territory around here was cut, but not in this park. In the early days, it belonged to William Irvine, manager of the local sawmill, who had the park set aside for his own estate. In his will, however, Mr. Irvine gave the park to the town. Also, he gave funds to help develop the already natural beauty of the trees and flowers. Because of the wonderful water bodies and beaches, this area is ideal for swimming and water sports of all types. At Wissota Lake Beach Resort, thousands each year find normal, healthy exercise along the shore. Many of these people rent cottages and cabins along the lake, mostly for vacations, but some stay here the entire summer. Because of its calm water, Lake Wissota is great for all types of boating, especially rowing and canoeing. And too, because of its length, it provides ample opportunity for sailing and motorboat racing. There are fine golf courses and picnic areas near the lake, but by far, it is the water sports and beach activities that attract the greatest numbers. Though the lakefront offers great safety for beginning swimmers, there are also excellent chances for the most advanced aquatic enthusiasts to practice and display their skills. Still others simply enjoy sitting in the bright sunshine on a warm, breezy beach. But no matter what your choice, you're sure to find it here. In addition, there are also many public beaches along the lake that are nice. In Irvine Park, the swimming facilities are located at the Marshall Playground Pool. The land for the playground was donated by Mrs. Marshall, widow of the late Wisconsin State Supreme Court judge. Originally, just a small creek flowed here, but it was transformed into this modern and completely safe pool. It's people like Mrs. Marshall and Mr. Irvine who helped make our town a clean, wholesome place in which to live, a place where our children have the excellent recreational facilities that are so needed. Beautiful models? Hollywood starlets? No, they're teachers. These girls spend their summers instructing the children of Chippewa Falls in water safety, life-saving, and swimming. The girls are hired and paid by the Red Cross, but they work closely with our town's recreational staff, making a highly efficient and coordinated program. Instruction is given Mondays through Fridays with separate classes for each degree of skill, ranging from non-swimmers to advanced lifesavers. The whistle, rather than the old school bell, brings the classes to order for the roll call. The children come from all around this area. Some walk, some ride their bikes, and still others are brought by car or bus, but they all are diligent in their studies and are rarely late or absent from the class meetings. And with instructors like these, who would be? Really, though, these girls are as competent as they are lovely. Mary Ann Maurer gives instruction to the kids in life-saving. During the rest of the year, Mary is an elementary teacher in the Minneapolis public schools. She's still teaching, only the subject has been changed. At the Marshall Pool, the courses of instruction include the very latest of techniques, such as new advances in artificial respiration methods. Also, the children are taught approaches, blocks, parries, carries, and all other vital facts connected with life-saving procedure. This summer instruction is just another example of the keen interest the people of Chippewa Falls have in their children and in their well-being. Here they have lots of fun in the out-of-doors and learn all at the same time. And the children really love it. They all take an active interest in what they are being taught and then put it to good use. The docks float on polystyrofoam planks donated by the Chippewa Falls Plastic Company. Incidentally, Chippewa Plastics is one of the newest industries in our town. It was started just in 1948 by Mr. D.H. Williams, a chemist. Although it is a rather young industry, it has made great strides forward since its beginning. Originally employing only 2 persons, the staff now is 65. They operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Products manufactured here include plastic bags, floats, which you just recently saw, food packages, fence insulators, and many, many other items that help make our modern-day living so comfortable. The business originally started out occupying only 1/2 the basement in its present location. However, due to its tremendous success, it now occupies the entire building. All the work done by Chippewa Plastics is precision engineered to meet specific requirements. These insemination tubes are checked every step along the way. The diameter of the bore opening must be within 4/1000th of an inch accurate in order to be approved. In the relatively short year of its existence, Chippewa Plastics has gained an enviable reputation for producing high-quality materials. This has been achieved through capable engineering and plenty of hard work. One of the most vital and important products being produced by the Plastics Company is the 75mm shell liner. It is these liners that hold the powder of the 75mm recoilless rifle, which was so important in the Korean fighting. The end part of the liner is made in an 8-ounce injection molder. The weighing of each lot of plastic is carefully controlled by machines. The molten plastic is injected into the mold, and the clamp section pressing against it gives it the final shape that's desired. Much of the automatic machinery used here was developed in this country. $2.5 million liners are being turned out by this plant, 12,000 in a single day. The shell cap and the liner are placed on a loading pin which holds them together. The process of producing the liner is similar to that of the insemination tube, except that it is a thinner plastic with a much larger bore opening. Our town is rightfully proud of Chippewa Plastics for their great service to the nation in time of need. For the outdoormen, there's plenty of hunting and fishing in our town, and young and old alike go in for these sports. Contests are held each year for the largest fish of the various species. Another water sport that has caught the fancy of quite a few people is water skiing. This four-skier team, which has never had any lessons, includes sisters Marlene and Beverly Shield. Beverly is one of the instructors at the swimming pool. It looks like fun, and it is. This is a brother team. Bill and Roger Stiles can really maneuver themselves over those waves. It takes real physical stamina to do stunts like this, along with some good old dunkings in the learning stage. They're a long way off, but here they come, skimming smoothly along the surface of the lake. Many of the people of our town come here during the summer just to watch these young people practice and perform and really enjoy it. One of the most exciting stunts for both the participant and the onlooker is the building of a pyramid as they ski over the water. Since brothers Bill and Roger are architect students at Lawrence University, this should be easy. Yes, it may look easy, but it's really very difficult. It takes precision, timing, and movement. These young people really enjoy this kind of living. Most of them have made plans to stay in Chippewa Falls and live. This is a real tribute to our town and its people. Baseball is one of the major sports in Chippewa Falls, and it's baseball for all ages. Hardball and softball are both represented in our town and represented by a tremendous proportion of our people. As a matter of fact, Chippewa is regarded as the state's softball capital. During the summer months, at almost any time during the day or evening, there's a game in progress at Marshall Playground. Some of the different teams are men's, women's, juniors, girls, and the young fellas we see here, the midgets. Most of these teams are supported by gifts from local merchants, industries, and civic organizations. At Irvine Park, there are also extensive playground facilities. As with all the other recreational developments in Chippewa Falls, as much of the natural setting as possible has been retained. The baseball fields, playgrounds, tennis courts, golf courses, camp areas, swimming pools, these are all tree-lined and fully landscaped. It contributes to the impression of vigor and healthfulness that our town inspires. Our children are happy, healthy children because of this way of life. There's nothing like getting out in the sunshine and enjoying yourself. This idea of constructive recreation has been handed down through the years and will continue to be as these children grow into mature young men and women. But play is not all that interests the young people. They are very much aware of the world around them, and this desire to know more about the world leads both youngsters and older folks to the Irvine Zoo. Here they can watch the monkeys, the peacocks, and all the other animals that they've read about in real life. A trip to the zoo is a big event and much looked forward to. And we'll have to admit that some of the older folks get just as much kick out of coming here as do the kids. In general, everybody has a good time watching the animals. Unlike most menageries, at Irvine Park, some of the animals live fairly normal, uncaged lives. The area is fenced in, but they have much more space in which to roam around. There aren't too many of these old fellows left around anymore, but here in our town is one place that you'll see them for sure. The ancestors of these bison used to roam the prairies in great herds. There's also a bear den in the big park, not far from the zoo area, and from the looks of things, the kids are fascinated. The sun may set on our town, but that doesn't mean the end of family activity. Our people are a happy people, and from time to time, open street dances are held. This dance is being held for the benefit of the Youth Council, which is hoping in the future to build a community center, especially for teenagers. The council also conducts many of the charity drives in our town, and last year did an outstanding job for the Cancer Fund. The music takes up a faster tempo now, and thanks to our camera, so do all the dancers. There's some real fast stepping. We hope that you'll forgive us, but the folks here looked just like they were having so much fun, we thought we'd join in. These bright trucks are a familiar sight around our town. They bring to the people of Chippewa Falls the fine products of the Sally Ann Bakery. Originally founded the Chippewa Bakery in 1908, it was changed to its present name in 1920. Mr. Christ Lee, a master baker in Norway, came to this country, settled here in this area, and was the founder. It is truly typical of the old established businesses of our town. They take painstaking care in every step of their production, from first mixing the dough to the final packaging. All the people employed here are well experienced in every phase of the bakery production. Ewald Holdbeer has been with this fine company for 28 years, and George Wold, the foreman, has been here 11 years. In fact, the average employee has been with the company 20 years. All those years of experience make each person a highly skilled craftsman in the fine art of baking. Here we see loaves of bread ready to be molded before they are sent on to the oven. Every year, many groups throughout the trade area visit the Sally Ann Bakery to watch the interesting process and are fascinated by the intricate equipment that's valued at over $125,000. The loaves of bread are placed in an oven which is kept at a constant temperature of 540 degrees Fahrenheit. Well over 1 million loaves of bread are baked in this oven each year, to say nothing of the hundreds of varieties of cakes, cookies, and other pastries that are also produced. But even though they produce large quantities of bakery goods, the accent is always on perfection, whether it be small cookies or a specially designed wedding cake. After the loaves of bread are properly baked, they are automatically sliced and wrapped. This slicing machine makes over 20 million slices every year. Like the rest of the bakery, all machinery must be kept spotlessly clean at all times. To ensure the utmost cleanliness, the walls are covered with a special paint, and the floors are always exceptionally clean. This combination of cleanliness, combined with the best in baking equipment and top-notch personnel, accounts for the overwhelming success of the Sally Ann Bakery through the years. The wrapper automatically wraps and hot seals the wrapper with hot wax. Of course, before being sent out to their many distributors, the loaves are carefully examined. Industries like the Sally Ann Bakery are a real tribute to our town and its resourceful citizens. Our new City Hall houses the police and fire department as well as the City Council. We are also proud of our fine water department and the new waste treatment plant. The newest and perhaps most beautiful of public buildings here is the county courthouse. Since our town is the seat of Chippewa County, it is natural that much of the governmental business be transacted here. The magnificent new building was constructed at a cost of $1 million, and the murals that decorate its outer walls are scenes from our area's early heritage, when the only citizens were the pioneers and Indians. Also located in Chippewa Falls is the county colony where the mentally retarded are given instruction and taught various useful skills. Behind the new courthouse stands the county jail. Though the building is up to date and modern in every respect, it still has cells and wash days. Chippewa Falls has a first-class post office. Because our town is a large tourist center, the general delivery section of it is quite big and is always kept busy. The people of our town like to have fun, that's true, but they are also a deeply religious people. There are 16 churches of 9 denominations here. On the hill overlooking the city is the shrine of Our Lady of the Falls, dedicated to those who gave their lives in the 2 world wars and in Korea. Our town's educational system is one of the finest in the state. There are 12 schools, including 2 high schools, 1 vocational school, and 4 parochial schools. In the newest of the schools, the Southside Elementary, the latest principles of design have been incorporated. The hospital in Chippewa Falls, St. Joseph's, has 185 beds. All the very latest in medical techniques and applications are used in this modern and complete hospital. The staff is one of the most highly proficient in this section of the state, and it's another example of the fine care our citizens have available. The Armory is headquarters of the 426th Infantry of the Wisconsin National Guard. Chippewa Falls is also the county seat of the state office of the Farmers Union. The many details that make this organization so successful are transacted here. One of our most beloved buildings is the Rutledge Charities Building. Edward Rutledge left a $1 million endowment fund for this building and for welfare and social work. Besides the cabins and cottages, there are 5 hotels in Chippewa Falls. The largest of these is the Hotel Northern. At night, the hydroelectric plant of the Northern States Power Company can be seen for miles, lighting up the sky along the Chippewa River. Our town is often referred to as the Power City, a further example of the thriving industry that can be found here. One of the 2 modern motion picture theaters in our town is the Falls Theater, which can seat 775 persons. The other is the Rivoli Theater. Both of them add to the even recreation in Chippewa Falls with fine screen entertainment. Our town also has its own daily newspaper, the Chippewa Herald-Telegram. One of the most important buildings in Chippewa Falls is the First National Bank, whose history goes back to 1873. Essentially, it's a savings bank. The First National is locally owned and has assets of $9 million. Through the years, its deposits have shown a consistent growth in savings accounts. Our bank offers many services that are unique in the banking field. For the convenience of its depositors, there's a television set so that our citizens may transact their business and still watch their favorite program or the telecasting of national events. This modern proof machine makes the depositor's trip to the First National Bank more enjoyable by quicker, surer transactions. The Recordac keeps microfilm records of paper transactions. Other of the bank's machines sort out coins and wrap them. The use of these machines not only saves valuable time and effort, but also increases accuracy and speeds transactions involving change. The First National Bank has about $80,000 worth of equipment and now employs 22 people in its various departments. They are all trained in the aspects of banking procedure. The First National Bank was one of the first in the country to initiate the use of these intricate machines as a regular part of their business. Through the years of their growth, this idea of constantly trying to improve themselves and their banking methods has been the real keynote to their success. Another of the modern services that the bank provides for customer convenience is the letter drop and after-hour depository. Special 12-minute parking meters make parking easy. The Carnegie Public Library was actually started in 1894 when during a book social over 1,000 books were donated. By the turn of the century there were 5,000 books, but no good building which to house them. Andrew Carnegie then said that he would donate $25,000 for the building if our town would provide $2,000 yearly for upkeep. And as a result, the building was constructed in 1903 and now has approximately 23,000 books. One of the main sections of the library is the children's room, which occupies the entire lower floor of the building. In the children's room, there's a large playhouse which offers hours of pleasure to the youngsters. There's also a teenage alcove upstairs, as well as a parent shelf with books on family living and relationships. The library also has a telephone reference service, discussion group meetings, and many other community activities and services. But the story hours, whether conducted by a librarian or one of the children, is always something to look forward to. Children like Jimmy Kruger are assisted in choosing the correct books by capable people like Ann Thorpe. A sample of the most popular reading matter showed an interest for the young people in science, fiction, and biography. Of course, many of the kids still like to look at the colorful pictures of an old fairy tale. One of the unique systems used to create interest in books is that of giving each child his own treasure chest. For every book they report on, they are given a play coin, which they deposit in their chest. Later, a party is held for those who have 10 or more coins in their treasure chests. Refreshments are pink lemonade, ice cream, and cookies. And most of the kids don't like to miss a party like that. Our library encourages cultural development in all its forms. May O'Donnell uses pastels as her means of artistic expression. May is but one of the many children who find the library an exciting place. A mural done in tempera is the proud work of a group of teenagers. Yes, this is our town, a town that we all take pride in. We sincerely hope that you'll join us again when once again we ask you to visit more of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. This is our town.
This is our town, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Ours is an industrious, hard-working city. But Chippewa Falls wasn't always the thriving city it is today. In the early days, the Ojibwa Indians fished and hunted along the Chippewa River. But the great strand of white pines attracted lumbermen who settled here in 1837. They built the largest sawmill in the world. Over 1 million feet were cut every 3 days. White pine, the drive, the big mill. These things were then the very heart and soul of Chippewa Falls. But the lumbermen slashed away the mighty pines and hemlocks without any thought of the future. They left the area with stumps, but no large trees, and moved on further west. They had moved on west, and they left the now open land. But the land was good land, and it was fertile land. The earth would give life to growing things if it were tended. The people to work the land and to reap its benefits did come. As the lumbermen moved on, the farmers moved in. Many of them came under the provisions of the Homestead Act. They fenced in the land. They built their homes and barns. They removed the stumps. They planted their seed. They harvested their crops. And there was power, great power, power from the rushing river. A great dam and hydroelectric plant were built. By 1891, the streets were lighted by electricity, and in 1898, electric cars ran through the streets of Chippewa Falls. The falls, however, gave way to progress. The damming of the river put the mighty falls 250 feet below the new river level, but the power was still there. Power to build great industries, power to turn the wheels of big mills, power to provide new jobs, new products, and a new type of city. Even before the lumbermen were completely gone, new industries were starting. Great industries, like the Chippewa Falls Woolen Mill Company, were rolling. Since 1882, this firm has been producing the famous Chippewa woolens from raw wool through to the finished garment. At the start of the progress, the grated grease wool is fed into the duster. Matted wool is opened in fluffy state to facilitate scouring, and lumps of dirt, sand, and other loose impurities are removed. The dusted wool is passed through scouring or washing trains, which consists of 3 separate bowls and 3 squeeze rolls. Clean washed wool is either dyed in dye tubs, or, if left in natural color, is passed through dryer machines to bins behind the burr picker. The burr picker removes burrs, chives, straw, and other vegetable matter. The fine teeth on the rotating rollers removes burrs but allow the free passage of wool fibers. In the mixing picker, the wool fibers are thoroughly mixed in the proper proportions to give a homogeneous mass of fibers. Carding wool means to disentangle it and arrange the fibers into a light, fluffy, continuous web. The machine does this by running the wool over 3 large cylinders, which are arranged in a series. These cylinders have a fine wire clothing. Small workers and stripper cylinders, also wrapped with fine wire clothing, operate about each cylinder. As the lumps of wool are carried on the surface of the wire-clothed rollers, it is straightened out and formed into a web. The web of wool is divided into many narrow strips, which form round, soft ropings or ropings for the spinning machines. The spinning mule draws the roving out to a greater length, twists it to form strong yarn, and finally winds it into bobbins. The yarn is rewound onto pattern bobbins or larger filling bobbins according to where it is going to be used. Pattern spools are eventually wound on a large warp beam, which is placed behind the loom. In weaving, the warp yarn ends are interlaced with filling yarn to form a cloth or fabric. The looms are completely automatic and will run continuously unless a warp or filling thread breaks. The shuttle which carries the filling yarn back and forth through the warp yarns moves at a terrific rate of speed. Cloth repairing or burling is done by hand. Loose threads, knots, and other imperfections are removed. The woven material is passed through wooden rolls and brass flange plates that shrink the cloth in length and width. Controlled washing gives the cloth the proper soft wool feel. Shearing clips are protruding fibers from the surface of the cloth, and napping lifts individual fibers to give the fabric that soft, fluffy feeling. These 2 operations give the material a uniform surface. Decating, the final process, steams cloth, which presses and sets the yarn. Kenneth Giese, the dye master, tests raw wool before the lots are used. Chippewa Woolen Mills is one of the 3 companies in the United States which performs every step themselves, from raw wool to the finished garment. Most of the wool comes from Wyoming, South Dakota, Montana, and the wool pool in Minneapolis. Besides testing the wool for quality, one of the dye master's important duties is developing different shades. 110 different shades have been developed here by Mr. Giese. Before any new style, pattern, or shade hits the market, it is carefully checked, planned, and discussed by the key executives of the firm. George Roerich, Jasper Berlin, and Fred Bernard check some of the newer lines. These men know wool from A to Z, and they believe in wool. Wool is the most absorbent of all fibers. It absorbs up to 30% of its weight without becoming damp. It is most wrinkle-resistant, gives the greatest warmth without weight, takes dye most beautifully and permanently, and is not inflammable. In this day of so-called miracle fibers, it is Fiber W that is still the most exciting fiber of all. At a modern clothing plant nearby, the fabrics are cut and sewn into beautiful high-quality garments. There are 350 people employed by Chippewa Woolen mills in their factories. The finished garments are a tribute to the quality control and pride in their work. Before lumbering was gone from Chippewa Falls, the city began being known as the shoe manufacturing town. Chippewa Shoe Company maintains its plants here. The original Chippewa's reputation for quality was gained through its manufacture of rugged logging shoes. The first step in shoemaking is sorting the selected leather and putting up the cutting job. This is being selected for the lightweight moccasin outdoor boot. The leather is then cut with a 3/4-inch double-edged steel die. Though it appears simple, this is one of the higher skill jobs, for it involves a lot of experience to determine the proper proportion of the leather needed for certain sections of the shoe, which demand either flexible or more rigid leather. When all the component parts have been cut, they are assembled and inspected. Alfred Hubb, the cutting room foreman, has been with the company for over 50 years. The parts are marked for size, style, and lot number. Skipping makes the leather thinner where it overlaps. Now the shoe is being assembled as the various parts are sewn together. The original Chippewa label is sewn onto the tongue, and the boot begins to take shape. The 175 employees engaged in production turn out over 1,300 pairs of shoes per day. The quarters are joined to the vamp, and the upper leather insole is sewn in at the rate of 3,000 zigzag stitches per minute. Temporary lacing is put in as preparation for lasting. The many types of machinery used now are a far cry from those used when the plant was first starting in 1901. The last, a wooden form, is inserted in the upper. This will keep the final shoe's shape throughout the rest of the shoemaking operation. For this particular boot, a hand lasting operation will be used, though on others machine lasting is done. The advantages of hand lasting are greater flexibility and lighter weight of the product. This, however, increases the cost of the labor involved. The midsole is then sewn to the leather upper. The outsole is then laid with 150 pounds of pressure per square inch. The outsole is cemented and the steel shank is inserted prior to laying. The outsole is rough-rounded to trim away excess. The Goodyear outsole is then stitched on. Though these machines do much of the work automatically, it is the skill of the operators that determines the final quality of the product. Most of these people spend years perfecting their technique at these machines. The outsoles are leveled. That is to say, the stitches are firmly embedded into the outsole for greater wear. Mr. Peter Lemay has been with the firm for over 52 years, having come to work 6 months after the company began operations. He operates the automatic heeling machine. The excess of the heel is trimmed away by 2 semicircular cutting blades on a shaft, which rotate at 7,000 revolutions per minute. The shoes now go through a process of treeing and dressing, where they are checked and carefully prepared for the oil finish, which is then sprayed on. Lacing and packing complete the processing, and the boots are ready for delivery to original Chippewa dealers throughout the country. Original Chippewa boots are readily identifiable by the labels sewn into the gusset of every pair. Peter Stenza, factory superintendent, performs a final inspection, as Mr. T.A. McDonald, president, and Mr. A.C. Bookberger, assistant superintendent, perform a routine check. to be sure that the uncompromisingly high standards of quality are being maintained. The completed lightweight outdoor boot is beautiful to look at and is as serviceable as it is handsome. Chippewa Falls' other shoe company is the Mason Shoe Company. This firm was originally founded in 1904 by B.A. Mason, and the business is now handled by his 3 sons. Today, the firm occupies 2 large buildings with floor space totaling 125,000 square feet. It is expected that the new office building will increase production of the staff by approximately 40%. Through its many sales representatives, all the shoes produced by this firm are sold directly to the wearer. When a person's order is sent in, it is processed quickly and efficiently. The order is zoned, the inventory and order are checked, and the salesman is credited. Ultra-modern equipment and trained personnel swiftly audit and prepare your order for actual shipment. The shipping labels for each individual pair are typed up and sent to the shipping department. From an inventory of 200,000 pairs with about 10,000 variations in style, color, size, width, shape, and pattern, the correct pair is picked out and speeded along conveyors. Additional stocks are kept at a warehouse in Stanley, Wisconsin. On the average, about 3,000 pairs are shipped out every day. Packages are all tied automatically, and mailing machines speed the postal operation. Many people believe it is easier and more convenient to buy their shoes this way. Though the first shoes turned out by the company were mostly loggers' boots, the good part of production nowadays is devoted to dress shoes. There is a new line of dress shoes every 6 months. Each new style takes from 6 to 9 months of design. The greatest feature of Mason shoes is the Velvet Ease Air Cushion inner sole, which softens jars and shocks of walking. Mason shoes are manufactured on over 175 different machines and involve 238 processes. The counter is assembled in the shoe. Its purpose is to give full support to the heel. Machine lasting, like hand lasting, is a highly skilled and meticulous process. The box toe is inserted in the shoe, and the shoe is pulled around the last, giving it its form. Ingenious lasting machines help to pull the leather upper of the shoe smoothly and tightly over the last. All along the production line, high standards of quality are maintained through quality control and pride in workmanship. Mr. Edgar Clary, foreman of the Treeing and Packing Department, and Mr. C.W. Kemp, plant superintendent, check the product from time to time. Supervising the several hundreds of competent men and women who produce and ship Mason shoes is an experienced team. Owen Mason, Frosty Froberg, and Ned Mason are 3 of the top policymakers of the company. At present, there are 8 regional sales offices in the main cities of the United States, and more are being added. Every Mason representative has back of him a stock of over 200,000 fine shoes, far greater than even the largest shoe store. In addition, he draws upon huge daily production prior to anticipated demand. The fertile lands in the Chippewa Falls area have not only given rise to some of the best dairying in the nation, but have also made this section important as a grain and vegetable producing center. The Chippewa canneries receive peas and corn from farmers under contract. The vines bearing the peas are unloaded and dumped into the viner. They pass through a series of crushing rollers, which break open the pods, allowing the peas to fall out and down into another section. The peas themselves are not crushed by the viner because the vines and leaves act as a cushioning around the peas. The peas are brought by truck to the cannery. Before they are unloaded, samples are taken and tested on a tenderometer. The tenderometer determines the tenderness of the peas. The farmer is paid for his peas according to the tenderness of the vegetable. After foreign material is removed and the peas have passed through a size graders, they are washed and blanched. Blanching helps to seal the flavor in the peas. Paul Glazner, plant superintendent, helps maintain quality control inspecting as the peas come out of the blancher. Carload after carload of empty cans are continually received by the cannery during the packing season. Package after package of can after can is unloaded and started along its way from the railroad cars through what seems like endless numbers of small conveyors. The capacity of the plant is 250,000 cans a day. During World War II, the company used painted cans in turning out food for the armed forces. The cans were painted so that the location of the men in the field would not be revealed to the enemy by reflections of light against the shiny surfaces. From the inspection table, the peas go down into the filling machine, where they are mixed with a solution of water, sugar, and salt for flavoring. Each of these machines turns out 225 cans per minute. The cans are sealed automatically, and the seals are checked to make sure that spoilage will not occur. The cans are loaded into huge containers by the use of these suction grippers. Many of the employees are high school and college students who find the cannery to be the ideal place for summer employment. This is because the peak of the canning season corresponds very closely to their summer vacations from school. The cans are next placed in huge pressure cookers and left there for 30 minutes at 240 degrees. After this operation, they will be cooled, labeled, packed, and stored for shipment. The first and only brewery in Chippewa Falls was built in 1867 by Jacob Leinenkugels. He was twice elected mayor of our town. In brewing beer, the barley malt is cleaned and crushed to proper fineness, and then in the mash tub, the plows and rakes mash the malted barley with clean, natural Chippewa spring water. The wort is run from the mash tub into the brew kettle and boiled. Adjunct and hops are added for flavor and desirable characteristics. The brewing is precisely timed, and the hops are removed from the wort. The wort is then cooled by running it over cooling coils. It is aerated in carefully filtered and controlled air. The third generation of the family now owns and actively operates the brewery. They employ 76 people in the brewery and 48 in the bottling house. Yeast is added to begin fermentation, and the product is now known as beer. It is then stored and allowed to mature, or lager. The brewmaster, Elmer Baseman, tests the beer continually. Usually the results can be predicted because at this brewery, all the ingredients are carefully measured and temperatures and times are controlled. Alcohol content is checked, and after filtering and carbon dioxide are added, an additional aging takes place. The beer is also checked for clarity, purity, and flavor. Then it is ready to be kegged, canned, or bottled. The Jacob Leinenkugels Brewing Company has enjoyed continuous growth with the exception of the Prohibition era since it was founded. The bottling plant is equipped with modern machinery like the pasteurizer for bottled beer. Each bottle is carefully inspected, and whenever any doubt exists, the bottle is rejected. The label Leinenkugels Chippewa Pride Beer is automatically pasted on every bottle. The continuous increase in sales reflects the favorable acceptance of this company's fine product. The bottles are dropped into cases by this automatic casing machine. This method is much faster than hand casing, and the machine has a lower breakage rate. The company is very progressive and adds new equipment to the plant as it is developed. Such a new development was added this year when they installed a new grain drying department. These new improvements, however, are mostly concerned with the bettering of an already outstanding product. Through its own drivers and its local area distributors, the beer is sent out throughout the Chippewa Falls and Eau Claire areas and several surrounding communities. Leinenkugels also enjoys a fine reputation for the bock beer that is traditionally distributed in the spring. But But the large mills and small industries do not present the entire business picture of this city. The retail businesses and services must be considered. The people who live and work in Chippewa Falls must be able to fill their personal needs easily. And it is these smaller businessmen that we owe our thanks for their services. People like Sidney Olesen, who operates Olesen's drugstore. Olesen's was established 20 years ago. Like the other firms in Chippewa Falls, the accent here, too, is upon quality. Because of the great tourist and recreational mecca that Chippewa Falls is, the camera department assumes extra importance. Olesen's drugstore has 7 employees, 2 of which are registered pharmacists. But like any modern-day drugstore, toilet articles and cosmetics become a necessary line as prescriptions, medicinals, and chocolate ice cream sodas. Besides facial remedies, Olesen's drugstore maintains a complete livestock remedy department for the benefit of the entire agricultural area. Mr. Sidney Olesen, the owner, advises a customer on the merit of several of these products. But the mainstay of any pharmacy is its prescription department. It is here that the community is truly served. Like the other drugstores in Chippewa Falls, Olesen's is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. Each year, over 30,000 prescriptions are filled at Olesen's. The pharmacy also cooperates with the Rutledge Charities and the local hospital. The compounding of prescriptions demands complete knowledge, training, and experience. At times, one's life might depend upon how carefully a prescription is filled. Complete supplies of chemicals and drugs are always kept on hand, including serums, vaccines, and the latest antibiotics. Scientific equipment helps the pharmacist in his accuracy. This precision balance can even determine the weight of a pencil mark on a piece of paper. Yes, it's people like the Jeezys, the Lamais, the Faubergs, the Clarys who make our town the fine place that it is. We've seen Chippewa Falls is an industrious, forward-thinking city, from its largest mills through to its smaller businesses. But its real future is in its children. The adults of Chippewa Falls are backing a summer playground program to help develop the children culturally through arts and crafts, physically and socially. But perhaps the most important development lies in the fields of group living and good sportsmanship. The playground program is supervised by a staff of 13 competent people at 3 centers. About 1,000 children take part in that program, which is carried on for 6 weeks, 5 days a week. The city government finances the entire program. Costume festivals like a Mexican fiesta not only teach about other lands, but also promote international understanding. This is a Mexican game, usually played at children's parties. The piñata, a bag in this case, is usually a very fat figure. The blindfolded batter tries to hit the bag, bust it open, and scatter the treats around. Once the bag is broken, the fun begins. The kids rush in to see who can get the most candy. One of the activities that swells the heart of Chippewa with pride and admiration is the dance group, under the supervision of Mrs. Evelyn Knight. The dance recitals are complete sellouts for their entire runs. From an artistic point of view, they are equally successful, as these girls illustrate. Ann Lindsay, 14 years old, proves that there is beauty as well as spunk and strength in cartwheels, handsprings, flips, and we hope no flops. Citizens of Chippewa Falls have seen to it that the opportunities for filling leisure time are varied. Beautiful parks, fine recreational facilities, and excellent cultural opportunities have been established for those of all ages. There are glee clubs, choral groups, artist groups, and not forgetting nature's gift to the area, there is a highly active conservation group. This spirit of service to community and to one's fellow man is evident in every phase of life in Chippewa Falls. But one of the most important concerns of the community is the children. Everywhere one looks, every activity seems to be geared toward raising a healthier, happier, stable, and intelligent new generation. Children like Cheryl and Danny Roberts, who are now 5 and 8 years old respectively, are living indications of this. Little Cheryl has been dancing since she was 3 years old. Their parents, like virtually all other parents in Chippewa, are striving toward making life fuller and more wholesome, not be forcing their children to do, but rather by creating an atmosphere wherein the child's desire to learn and to do develops naturally from within. This is not a new attitude in Chippewa Falls. It's a philosophy upon which the city has grown. It has built people of character, people who are physically well developed, and people who are happy. The teachers, librarians, and recreational supervisors of their children are all highly skilled, competent, and friendly. Yes, the people are serious, but they are also alert, friendly, and warm-hearted. Charities are well supported, but more important, plans are made and carried out before the needs of charity should arise. Our facilities include opportunities for family recreation, for we feel that children must be lived with to mature fully. This is a town that belongs to all Americans, for in it they too find many of their own hopes and aspirations for the future. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. This is our town.